July 2021. If you look at the leaderboard for Donkey Kong 64 101%, there's a bunch of children, and towering above them is Znernicus. He has proven time and time again that he is the leader of the bunch. There's no one within 17 minutes of his time. But two legends of the game, Ringrush and Balam, have just dropped massive bombs. The modern era of 101% speedruns is about to begin. In 1 month, Znernicus will no longer be on top. Before we begin, let me talk to you about this game I've been playing. You know it, I'm talking about Raid Shadow Legends. I know it's not the first time you hear about this game, so why start playing now? Well, there's actually never been a better time to start playing. As Raid celebrates 6 years, they went ballistic with freebies for new players. Just by joining using my link or scanning this QR code, you can get the epic hero Zargala for free, as well as the legendary champion Supreme Gallic with the Anniversary Edition promo code Supreme6. And here's another reason. Right now, there's a global event going on based on Alice in Wonderland. Alice's adventure comes with 5 legendary champions that you can earn for free during the event: Alice the Wanderer, Cheshire Cat, Mad Hatter, Knave of Hearts, and the one and only Queen of Hearts. But maybe the best reason to start playing now is you can join my clan, the Banana Horde. That's right, you can get on the game, join my clan, and play alongside me. I made a channel on my Discord server where we'll explore the game, share strategies and cool builds, and so on. This game's AAA graphics look great on mobile, but I'll be honest, I'm not that much of a mobile gamer. While I'm patiently waiting for the game to release on Nintendo 64, what sold me is the next best thing: you can play it on PC. I do most of my gaming on PC, and I can seamlessly switch to my phone when I want to play on the move. Remember, click the link in the description or scan this code to download Raid now, get Zargala and Supreme Gallic, and join my clan. Thanks to Raid for supporting my channel. The two massive shifts in DK64 101 happened in the last 12 months. In August of 2020, Ringrush dropped this piece of information in the speedrunning Discord server. Phasewalking, the most powerful of the phase tricks, was no longer TAS only. When facing the right direction, you could now go through basically any wall simply by going into first person and performing these inputs while coming out: slide down, full forward, neutral, and Z, all on consecutive frames. What little remained of walls in DK64 had completely vanished. Don't get me wrong though, phasewalking is still really hard, but now it was at least possible. Some very dedicated runners had independently developed a similar phasewalk method, but without a full understanding of the exact joystick inputs, their consistency ranged from once in a blue moon to kind of shaky. It was considered way too hard for 101. But now, people were getting it left and right. Meanwhile, Balam actually made 2 contributions. The smaller one was an improvement on something that hadn't seen any significant optimizations in a decade: basic movement. A few years prior, accurate measurements on emulator had proven what the intuition of the community had always been. DK's rolls are the fastest, followed by his kicks, then a tie between all the long jumps, Diddy's cartwheel, and Tiny's slide kick at 150, and finally, all the Kong's base running speed of 140. Balam found that cancelling Lanky's rank stand in the first few frames with the jump lets him move at 170 during his jump, making him the second fastest Kong after DK. This would only save frames here and there, but it adds up over the course of an entire run. Balam's bigger contribution somehow changed the game both more indirectly and even more globally. In January of 2021, he released the very first version of the Donkey Kong 64 practice ROM. He used his ROM hacking wizardry to conjure up a modified version of the game with special features tailored for speedrun practice: save states, assistance, input display, and so much more tucked into a user-friendly menu. Remember all the way back in 2011 when Lefty's Heroes complained about DK64's autosave system working against him? Well, this issue had been plaguing the ability to practice the 101% speedrun all this time. You couldn't, for example, practice a hard golden banana by loading up a file, collecting the banana, resetting and redoing it, because the game would have autosaved with no way to go back. So you wanted to practice Rabbit Race Skip and Beanstalk Skip? Start from a completely fresh file every single time. And this is why the practice ROM was such a monumental resource. There was now nothing in the game you couldn't grind until it was perfect. 101% had always been a speedrun that was so long you could never expect the entire run to go without any mistakes. That was no longer true. The first person to take the opportunities phasewalking in the practice realm offered was Zorulda. After conquering both the any percent and the no levels early world records, it was time for him to start taking 101% seriously. With phasewalking suddenly becoming viable, he took it upon himself to rework the entire route to include it. The thing is, it's such a powerful trick that it could be used everywhere. How every exactly? 59 times. Here are the most significant. All the Troffenskopf ledge clips were replaced. The Orangstand sprint in Kalamzi's prison was skipped entirely on top of a void-out warp back to Diki Island. Feeding the totem in Angry Aztec to spawn switches that opened the 5-door temple could also be skipped because you could simply phasewalk into each Kong's temple. Altogether, phasewalks could save minutes on paper, but remember that this trick is still really hard. Even the very best at phasewalking would take several attempts on average and could sometimes get stuck for up to 20 or 30 seconds on a single phasewalk. Once that was done, he began to break the run up and to practice every little bit using the practice ROM. He dug in and refined every stretch, every little bit of movement, every single trick in the run until he had it down to a science. He ran individual levels and compared his times to what Znernicus could get, and he didn't stop until he knew he could not only match him, but beat him. The amount and especially quality of the practice he put into the category showed immensely and immediately. On July 12th, in preparation for that year's edition of the 1545, Zorulda improved his personal best from 558 to 551 and took second place. During that run, Zorulda got to show off the newest development in Golden Banana Dance skips with the Shockwave damage setup, where charging a Shockwave into an orange extends your hitbox and allows you to get hit by oranges that would never hit you otherwise. His very next attempt was in the 1545 2 days later, and he dropped his time to 541. That's right, Zorulda closed the massive gap with Znernicus in 2 days.
31:35? What?
Improving that run, however, did not come easy. It took him 1 month and over 30 attempts to finally get a run on pace to improve his 541. Just like Znernicus before him, he came out of Jungle Japes just barely over an hour. A couple of years earlier, a sub-hour Jape split was sort of a mythical perfect start, but now, with phasewalking, it was an inevitability. In Factory, Zorulda's clean play and phasewalking ability made a mockery of the 40-minute mark with a 39:18. Galleon was one of the few levels that phasewalking could not improve significantly, but he stepped up and gained time over the record with an excellent 37-minute time. Helm and Castle are a bit of the same story, and he kept up the pace to end up entering Angry Aztec with a near 2-minute lead over the world record. And here, phasewalking was massive. Totem skip prompted a reroute of the level that saved up to 45 seconds. While waiting for the vulture to show up, instead of pressing the totem switch, Diddy would round the gongs and interrupt the long rising tower cutscene with the vulture. And so, in a level that Znernicus could barely clear under 42 minutes counting both visits, Zorulda zoomed through in 40:11. He came out of it 3.5 minutes ahead. It wouldn't stay easy the entire time though. Zorulda was about to enter Crystal Caves, and even with phasewalks, he was unlikely to match the insane 31:30s from both his 1545 run and the world record. And indeed, caves is caves.
Wow. Nice. There goes a boatload of time because of the zinger. Dude, what the? Dude, the Kosha! Are you kidding me? Go away!
Despite coming out of it with a very respectable 32:30, his lead had shrunk considerably. And no lead is safe with the Rabbit Race and Beanstalk skips.
Oh my god, yes! I knew it, dude. I knew I was too low. I told you this can happen. Nice. Just try to focus.
You could see how visibly nervous he got, knowing that there was barely anything left separating him from his first 101% world record and the leaderboard sweep. But he mostly kept it together through the rest of Fungi and topped it off with an amazing K rule to set a new world record of 5:36:32.
Dude, I did it! I did it! I got the sweep! Oh my god, I never thought I would get this far. We're celebrating the second I see that second cutscene come on the screen.
In a matter of weeks, Znernicus' seemingly untouchable record had fallen.
Dude, we did it!
Though he definitely did not come out of nowhere, Zorulda's lightning speed improvement was still nothing short of incredible. This man took his time from 558 to 536 in the span of a month. And one thing was sure, he wasn't gonna stop. Only 4 days later, Zorulda's already on great pace early. He's in high spirits until he gets absolutely ridiculed by a fairy.
Seriously? Dude, what? It's right there, dude! Come on, take a picture! Trash, man. Absolute trash.
Despite breaking the hour barrier with an awesome 58 Jape split, he's still a bit miffed about that fairy.
Still a 58.
He gets trolled again by another fairy in Factory.
Dude. God. Very trolled.
After mostly keeping pace, he gets destroyed by that same fairy that betrayed Joe Vivel 15 years prior.
This fairy, dude. Oh my god. It's being awful right now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna lose time on this split because of that fairy alone. Not because I didn't play well. Just because of that one fairy.
He keeps his diminished lead going until a clean castle propels him back to a healthy lead, which he keeps for all of 10 minutes because of rough Phasewalks.
Get in there. And why do I insist on trying to Phasewalk on the door?
In Crystal Caves, he finally gets to debut a new trick that the dreaded Waterfall Zinger prevented him from doing last time, the Giant Kosha cutscene skip. The Giant Kosha is everyone's favorite feature of Crystal Caves. He periodically makes rocks fall on your head, and the first time he does so, a long time-wasting cutscene plays. One of the only ways to cancel it is to take a banana port warp, but the cutscene usually plays at least once before you've had the chance to tag warps in 2 different parts of the level. With clever routing, however, you can use Rocket Barrel, which prevents the cutscene from playing, and entering other maps, which resets its timer until you can use Warp 2 with the right timing to override the cutscene. This gave the Waterfall Zinger even more power than it already had, because it could now dash your hopes of skipping the Giant Kosha cutscene just like we saw in the previous record. This time though, Zorulda gets it and saves a significant amount of time. After some more back and forth, he hangs on until Rabbit Race Skip.
He dove.
On top of Rabbit Race Skip being such a risky trick, Lanky has just one more curveball he likes to throw. When falling into the moat to clip out of bounds, most of the time Lanky simply falls in and swims on the surface. However, if he hits the water right when the water is bobbing up, he can get fully submerged during his splashing animation, after which he enters an underwater swimming state which controls completely differently from surface swimming. If that happens, the whole setup is basically ruined, so Zorulda has to leave the tag barrel and restart. And then he gets to the general area where the golden banana is, he scans, but he just can't find it. After over a full minute of scanning, he hasn't found it. He has all but given up. He has no idea where he even is anymore. And this is what Rabbit Race Skip does. It doesn't care what pace you're on. It can take your world record run away and break your heart at a moment's notice.
What?
Moving on, Zorulda gets a great rest of fungi and picks up a lead of 1.5 minutes to finish with a 5:35.13.
That's the world record. This really should have been a 5:32 or a 5:31, but you know what? We take those.
Of course, despite the miracle, Rabbit Race Skip was still a giant time loss, so Zorulda would keep playing to get a clean run. 1 month and about 30 attempts later, he would get just that. An insane factory.
38-39. Nice.
A solid galleon and helm, but a weak castle.
The creepy castle in my PB is just, like, it's unreal, man. I don't know how to beat it.
He was still in it though, and he followed it with a clean Aztec and an amazing caves. In fact, the addition of 6 Phasewalks in this level allowed him to beat Znernicus' insane time by 18 seconds. To top it all off, he even sneakily added a whole minute of time save spread throughout all of DK Isles. He has a 3-minute lead and a 2.5-minute time save ahead of him. Zorulda is in high spirits. The tag barrel storage is good. Lanky doesn't dive. He scans for the banana. Of that 2.5 minutes, Zorulda salvages 3 seconds. He doesn't even have time to be disappointed though, because Beanstalk Skip is right around the corner.
Oh, that was perfect, dude. That was absolutely flawless.
The rest of Fungi did have some mistakes, but he still managed to get out with a healthy lead to close out the run in 5:32.45.
We did it, fam. That's world record.
At this point, the 101 record was becoming amazingly clean. Before Fungi Forest, the only bad level was Creepy Castle, and it was still faster than Znernicus had ever done it. Thanks to Phasewalking in the practice ROM, the standards were just that much higher now, and he was meeting them almost every single time. But Rabbit Ray Skip, still as cruel as ever, left a giant hole in the run. He just could not catch a break. Zorulda was demonstrating a shocking amount of consistency though. A couple of weeks and another 30 attempts later, on October 9th, he would find himself entering Hideout Helm functionally tied with his 532, exactly where he wanted to be. He lost a bit of time in Helm itself, but this time, Creepy Castle went well.
30-50, nice.
He left Angriastic again, practically tied.
Oh no, I'm red!
His caves was flawless. In fact, he was about to get the first 30-minute level time until right at the end. He went for the harder chunky ice shield clip for a chance at the frame-perfect pause exit on the golden banana dance skip and lost all his time there.
Dude, please!
And so he left caves for all intents and purposes tied.
I just lost all my time to that.
It would all come down to Rabbit Ray Skip and Beanstalk Skip.
It's not over yet, man. But that's pretty big. Let's go!
Zorulda had done it.
Let's go, dude!
He had finally gotten a clean Rabbit Ray Skip. He even picked up the time he dropped last time for good measure, and he entered K-Roll with a slim chance of a 528, despite some naysayers claiming otherwise. Of course, we all know what's gonna happen. Why else would I bring it up?
Damn it, Bismuth.
You're welcome.
This run is amazing. That's the first sub 530 on N64.
So what now? Zorulda's 529 was everything he ever wanted. A clean run that went for and got all the hard tricks with about 60 Phasewalks and almost no major time loss. He still wanted to push the record lower, but there was almost nowhere to go from there. He kept pushing, but to no avail. If the record couldn't really be improved significantly anymore without some new major trick, Zorulda figured that the only remaining option was to add some new major trick. Remember how Seafox, all those years ago, panicked and turned in extra blueprints because he couldn't comfortably shut down the Blastomatic in less than 14 minutes? While initially it would take over 15 minutes, shutting down the Blastomatic quickly made it under 12. If you don't turn in any blueprints, the minimum time you get is 10 minutes. Theoretically, if you could shut down the Blastomatic within those 10 minutes, you could avoid tacking on an extra visit to Snide before Helm to get more time and save 20 seconds. But even as runners kept improving, it seemed as though that 10-minute barrier was just barely out of reach. Znernicus came very close, and Zorulda finally made it by the skin of his teeth. But even though everyone knew it was possible, the problem was that it needed to be consistent. The Blastomatic shutdown time is highly reliant on 2 random outcomes, Chunky's random box minigame and Diddy's random Kremling minigame. The variance between the best and worst luck on those two amounted up to about 20 seconds. No one was interested in a 90% chance to lose the run 2.5 hours in for a 20-second time save. That's just miserable. Until the first significant Hideout Helm time save in 9 years was added to the run, Star Skip. Each Kong's room in the Blastomatic is initially closed off until you get DK to pull a lever to make stars appear that Diddy flies through. Then Chunky needs to go around and punch gates that block every room. For years, the main time save was to clip into DK's room, then back out with a crystal push, but then you still needed to open all the doors. Phasewalking changed that. By simply phasewalking in and out of every room, you could skip opening the doors, which means you could skip pulling the lever, flying through the stars, and punching all the gates, saving up to a minute. The main issue with that though is that phase tricks only work in a relatively small range of angles and the rooms are spread out in all directions. Nonetheless, it is possible, although at times pretty awkward, to make it in and out of all the rooms. Lanky requires extra out-of-bounds navigation, and Diddy runs the risk of falling down, but they can all be done using a total of 9 phase walks. Zorulda took inspiration from Balam's Lotad and adapted it to be doable in real time, and soon enough, he was attempting to shut down the Blastomatic in under 10 minutes in his 101% runs. And soon enough, he had a run going that got past Hideout Helm ahead and was well on pace to beat his record. But then, his computer crashed. His stream was gone. His timer was gone. His game was still running, so he did keep playing, but he had no idea whatsoever how long his run even was. As soon as he could, he started streaming again, and as he finished the run, he knew for sure that this was a new world record, but he didn't know the time and the video was missing a huge chunk. He scrambled to figure out his runtime while waiting for the special 101% post-credits sequence.
Wait. What? What? What?
He had missed a banana.
That's 2% right there. That one banana, it's 2%.
Way back in Frantic Factory, he had missed one banana in the corner. His time didn't matter anymore. That was not a new world record. Despite over 150 attempts, Zorulda went the rest of 2021 without beating his time. Although the 529 was still standing entering 2022, it didn't take very long for it to be challenged. On January 2nd, someone found himself on a promising pace. That man was Znernicus. The advent of the practice realm in phasewalking didn't only benefit Zorulda. Znernicus put in the hours and he also grew into a proficient phasewalker. He became consistent enough to challenge the record with Helm's Star Skip. He got almost his entire lead off of a legendary 3602 Gloomy Galleon, something that just a few months ago would have been literally impossible. But the scary part was coming. Could he shut down the Blastomatic in under 10 minutes in a run? The time save was going to be nice, but there was still significant risk of running out of time, which would be quite literally game over for the run. On top of the random barrels, the level now hinged on over 10 phased walks with only about 1 minute of total leeway. Znernicus made it this time, but he and Zorulda would experience their fair share of close calls.
Get the fuck out of here.
I got a fast Kremling, but is it good enough? It is! Ah.
Moving on, Znernicus got a great ass deck but a weak caves and found himself on 532 pace entering fungi. Not quite good enough for a world record, but it would still be a personal best by 5 minutes and a strong statement. But before that, he would have to get over Rabbit Ray Skip and Beanstalk Skip.
Okay, we found it. It took a while, but we found it. No. What? What? Okay. Has anyone seen that happen before?
That was disastrous. He had to reset, go back to fungi, get TBS again, tag Tiny and Rocket Barrel, and fly to the Golden Banana. Even worse, he missed the banana the first time around and had to do it again. When all was said and done, Znernicus lost 4 minutes and was barely ahead anymore. He finished in 5:36.38, still a personal best, but was sorely disappointed.
I mean, I'm proud I PB'd despite what happened.
Meanwhile, Zorulda clocked in 160 attempts before he finally ended his drought on January 6, 2022. After a start with shockingly similar level times, he took a giant lead in Galleon with an insane 35.59, helped in part by skipping the Snide visit. He did bleed some time in Castle and Caves, as well as 25 seconds in Fungi because of the extra blueprints being turned in, but he held on to a small lead and finished in 5:28.30.
Let's go, dude! The grind is over! Let's go!
Zorulda kept going, and 1 week later, he got a run that immediately shot up to a 2-minute lead thanks to an astonishing 37-minute Frantic Factory. At this point, 39 minutes was pretty standard for top-level runs, and 38 was considered a great factory. 37 minutes was unheard of. He would follow it up with another 35-minute Galleon and a similar Hellman Castle. Unfortunately, he lost Skew early in the Llama Temple and struggled in the fairy picture afterwards.
God, this is not good. Okay, maybe I'm losing like a minute here. This is actually just hot garbage.
That was enough to cut his lead in half coming out of Angry Aztec. Another decent caves later, he had to get past Rabbit Race Skip and Beanstalk Skip.
Part 1 successful. Missed it. Got it. Okay. Whew. Okay.
He came out of it still decently ahead, and he got a new record with a 5:27.34.
That's world record. Yes, dude, let's go. Yes. Yes, dude, it's the world record.
Zorulda had taken the record down a full 10 minutes, about half with phasewalking and half with fully refined optimized gameplay. He was pretty satisfied with the record and was ready to move on to other endeavors such as graduating from medical school with a doctorate. That's right, all this time Dr. Zorulda MD was the uncontested best DK64 runner on the Nintendo 64 while in his final years of med school. However, having graduated and beginning his residency, 6-hour stretches of time became impossible to find, and Dr. Zorulda had no choice but to retire from 101%. Once again, the departure of the most dominant 101 player would leave a void at the top level. The only one who could reasonably challenge the record was Znernicus, but even he wouldn't get a chance. In May of 2022, Donkey Kong 64 speedrunning died. It died to the hands of the Donkey Kong 64 randomizer. When it came out, the DK64 randomizer took the entire community by storm and everyone was playing it. Other DK64 activities like speedrunning and bingo took a backseat to the randomizer. But this didn't last that long, only about a year. During that time, Adam Whitmore would claim a 5:38 and a new runner, Corncob, would make her entrance in the sub-6 club with a 5:57.
5:57.08.
In 2023, 101% would be revitalized and nearly everyone at the top of the leaderboard was active. Everyone except Zorulda. On March 26th, Znernicus, Adam Whitmore, Alphonium, and Corncob did a 101% race. Adam Whitmore won the race and took second place on the leaderboard with a 5:34.29. Znernicus was a bit rusty and finished in 5:40, and Alphonium improved her personal best to 5:53.57. Corncob did not beat her personal best in that race, but she would improve throughout the year to a 5:49. Summer came, and Znernicus once again partook in the annual 15:45 race. He had shaken off the rust and was back in form. Would he once again set a new world record in the 15:45? He got off to an amazing start.
Run is fine.
Incredibly though, he was still over a minute behind Zorulda's record. Zorulda's starts were just that strong. Unfortunately, after all these years, Mad Jax still exists.
No! Why?
A couple more small mistakes later and he came out of factory losing a minute.
Definitely not my best work in that level, but we continue.
With it being a relay race, Znernicus was not going to risk a game over, so he turned in the extra blueprints in Galleon and ate the time loss. Entering Hideout Helm, he was 5 minutes behind. His own best possible time, which is adding up all his best splits ever from this point to the end of the run, reads 5:30. World record is out of the question. But then, Znernicus woke up.
830x shut down? Am I counting that right? Nice gold helm. Beautiful. How did I save that much time? It doesn't make any sense. Man, I really hope I'm not forgetting things, because I did not expect to be saving that this much time.
How's the run go?
Surprisingly well. Makes me think that my practice is really paying off, or that I'm missing things. I hope it's the former and not the latter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, thank God, it was in my radius. Okay, good. Nice. Alright. Now we just gotta fly through this wall. Yes, we did it. We got the beanstalk skip. I'm real happy about that.
And just like that, he found himself on the home stretch, possibly on world record pace. But what was his pace exactly? Well, unfortunately, his deficit was just too large and he came up short. He was still about a minute behind the record. He also lost some time towards the end of the run, including to some of the purest distilled nonsense the game can muster.
What? That has never happened to me before.
Nonetheless, he set a huge new personal best with a 5:29.22. The rest of 2023 went quietly. Znernicus had made Zorulda's 5:27 look vulnerable, but he still didn't quite break it. The year turned to 2024, and immediately 2 events would help shape it into the year of 101%. February 12th. Gathered in a hotel room on bad Wi-Fi and an underpowered laptop were 5 players ready for an unprecedented 101 run. 5 of the top 10 101 runners ready to play 1 Kong each in a Kong family run: Znernicus, OBO, Corncob, Alphonium, and myself. The final time of 6:10 didn't really matter. What mattered is it got everyone in a room together to remember just how fun the 101% speedrun is. That run would trigger a return to form for nearly all the top runners in 2024. 2 weeks later, Balan would release the 3rd and to this day final edition of the 101% task. Motivated by a crazy glitch discovered by Ringrush back in 2021, this task clocks in at 3:58.46, just under the 4-hour mark. The route had been completely transformed from a nonlinear but logical sequence into a ridiculously convoluted multiverse traversing absurdity that visited Gloomy Galleon 3 times and Fungi Forest 4 times. That was Wrong Barrel Resolution. In short, by clipping out of Hideout Helm while the Blastomatic timer is still running, you can explore the rest of the game under the timer. Once it runs out, you can enter the Fungi Forest Battlecrown at just the right time to store that location as the parent map when entering a bonus game like Battlecrowns and Bonus Barrels. Then, upon leaving a bonus barrel elsewhere in the game, you would return to the parent map at the Fungi Forest Crown Pad. This kicks off a chain of events where each bonus barrel brings you to the location of the previous one, letting you warp around the game using bonus barrels. But why do all this? Because after completing a bonus barrel and sending you back to the parent map, the game will give you the golden banana from the nearest bonus barrel in that map. When everything is working as intended, that is the barrel you just completed, but here the nearest unfinished barrel is the Owl Race, the single longest golden banana in the game. The route goes through a series of clever warps between Gloomy Galleon and Fungi Forest to reduce backtracking, and overall makes a complete mockery of the game to collect everything in under 4 hours. Now the question on everybody's minds was clear: how could we port this insanity to a real-time viable route? Znernicus and Adam Whitmore were the most eager to propel 101% into the future, and they dug in to try and make it a reality. Countless hours were spent theory crafting, routing, testing, timing, adding up, retiming, rerouting, retesting, starting over, rerouting again and again and again, but they just could not get it there. Everything they tried, every single configuration, every possibility came up just short within 20 to 60 seconds. The problem was incredibly complex, but it mostly boiled down to 3 major issues. The primary reason to do this was to skip the Owl Race, which saved on the order of 3 minutes. However, in doing so, you had to enter a hideout helm twice, once to set up wrong barrel resolution and once to actually clear the level. You had to game over, which eats almost an entire minute and brings you back to DK Isles. Finally, the last barrel in the wrong barrel resolution chain would have to be completed twice, once to warp to the previous barrel and once to actually get its golden banana. Added together, these 3 restrictions basically erased the entire time save and then some. So, despite an incredible amount of work that continued throughout the entire year, wrong barrel resolution has not yet made its way into 101%, and the route is still mostly the same as it was 7 years ago. Some minor changes did happen, however. It's possible to charge a shockwave while taking a fairy picture, then using a pause and a frame-perfect B-press interrupt the picture by releasing the shockwave. This allows you to gain control while the picture is being taken, and entering any loading zone in the short time where you can move can let you skip the cutscene where the fairy refills your consumables. This saves a few seconds at the cost of losing out on a refill and some time to set it up, so it's far from a free time save. In fact, it has yet to be done successfully in a world record run. Diddy's upper room in the 5-door cabin could be sped up by leaving one of the 2 koshas alive and skipping the simian spring pad with the moontail. The downside of that strategy is that entering rocket barrels straight out of a ground attack causes Diddy to turn way slower, which makes him awful to control. It was never deemed worth it because of that, but as players improved, it was found to be worth it if you could fly around each candle in that state without losing much time. Finally, 2 improvements came in bonus barrels. The first was in the infamous Beaver Bother. Many years earlier, Connor75 stumbled upon this freak occurrence where a beaver counted twice. No one knew why it happened or how to replicate it until Balan looked into it in 2022. When a beaver is falling into the hole, there is a single frame where pressing B within a certain radius will cause the beaver to reset its state in the middle of the counter going down, which causes it to go down twice. So, with frame-perfect B presses, one could speed up Beaver Bother by making some beavers count twice. The second bonus barrel improvement was an absurd lag reduction optimization. In Peril Path Panic, one of the least interesting bonus barrels in a speedrunning context, it turns out that aiming at a corner actually reduces lag. That in itself isn't that special, but the insane part is that just for this one barrel, it somehow saves 6 seconds. With 3 instances of the barrel in the run, this simple lag reduction trick saved close to 15 seconds completely for free. Starting in February, the 101% frenzy begins. Corncob improves her time twice and settles on a 546 flat. I eventually returned to 101 to improve my 559 from 2017 down to 545.23. Euphonium goes on a meteoric rise and shaves off minutes at a time every other week for 2 months, ending on a 531. Adam Whitmore also returns and sets a 530. But it's Znernicus who's in peak form and ready to take down Zorulda's now 2-year-old record. He put his head down and went for attempts every day that he could. He was consistently on great pace, almost never resetting any of his runs. But there was one wall standing in his way: Rabbit Race Skip. The unfortunate nature of failed runs is that they're not remembered. No one saves the video of some random speedrun attempt that went nowhere. So it's no surprise that of the next couple dozen runs, almost nothing remains. What we do have is split times. So, I made a graph showing 2 things. First, the potential pace a run was on when entering Fungi Forest, the last level in the run, assuming that the last hour was good but not unheard of good. A 43:30 Fungi, a great level time for sure, but one that Znernicus is well capable of and in fact has beaten by up to 30 seconds. A 3:50 split to enter the K-Rool fight, and a 12:20 K-Rool on par with a clean but not amazing final boss. This comes up to almost exactly 1 hour. And second, the actual time he got once, if he got through Rabbit Race Skip and Beanstalk Skip. Attempt 228, on pace to set a new personal best by a minute, he loses that time in Fungi and has a bad K-Rool to miss it by 27 seconds. Attempt 229, same exact pace, lost 2 minutes and got a 530. Attempt 234 on 526 pace, which would be world record, crashed and burned, did not finish. Attempt 235, dead run, 3 minutes behind PB. He gets the best Fungi of his life and a 531. Attempt 236, 525 pace. He loses 12 minutes, 537. Attempt 239, the same exact pace, loses 2 minutes, misses the world record by just 10 seconds. But hey, that's a new personal best. Except it wasn't, because when the 101% special credits didn't play after his run, he found out that when he got key 2, 9 minutes into the run, he reset his console 1 frame early and the game did not save. Attempt 241, narrowly world record pace, did not finish. Attempt 242, definitely PB pace with a slim chance at world record still, he loses 4 minutes, 5:31. Attempt 244, just about PB pace, loses 7 minutes. Attempt 246, on pace for a mid 5:22. This would be a huge world record. There is no way he doesn't, and he voids out several times, loses 9 minutes plus another in key roll for good measure, 5:32. Attempt 250, this time on low 5:24 pace, which would still be an amazing record. This one does have a video. I wish it didn't.
Am I in bounds? Well, I didn't void out in the normal way, but it didn't work either. I would get the dive now, huh? Thanks, game. This time, no scanning required. With the same setup. I told you my setup is fine. I told you my setup is freaking fine.
That was bad, but he was absolutely still in it. This could still 526. He's finally past the skips that have haunted him for so long. Fair warning, what comes next is legitimately hard to watch. I'm gonna let it play out in its agonizing entirety because it needs to be experienced uncut in real time. This is what happened to Znernicus' world record pace run.
Oh no. Get through the... This has never happened before. I wanted to take damage on the thing, not go through it immediately. That has never happened like that in all of my runs. When does this guy respawn? You gotta be kidding me. There's no other time to come back. I was doing the right strat, man. The strat is you're supposed to take damage on the thorns while waiting for the blueprint to become tangible so that you can you know.
He missed the record by 17 seconds.
Alright, GG guys. I did my best. I got a 527. God damn, I'm so close to a sub 525. I'm so close to a 522, maybe 523. We're gonna get it. We're going to get it. I'm not discouraged yet. Somehow.
The very next attempt, Znernicus finds himself once again on the same low 524 pace entering Fungi Forest. Surely, this time has to be good, right?
Yes! Alright, we got it. Alright, let's go, man. I've been waiting for that. Nice, first try. Okay. Very good, very good. That's what we practiced. That was fun. We got the sub 525. That's a time that I've been chasing and close to for a while. Fungi finally went well today.
March 23rd, 2024. Znernicus finally reclaimed the crown. Over 10 years after his first ascension, it was finally the return of the king. Summer 2024 came along, and with it, another edition of the annual 1545. Znernicus entered the race again. However, so did Adam Whitmore, who recently jumped to second place with a 527 of his own, and although Euphonium's 531 was a bit removed from the record, with the incredible rate at which he had improved, anything was possible. In the end, both her and Adam ended up several minutes off their personal bests, which is honestly what you should expect of anyone playing in a race setting like that. But Znernicus isn't just anyone, and he's about to show why. He started off slightly behind, but 40 seconds isn't anything he can't come back from. In fact, an amazing 37-minute factory does just that for him. In Galleon, however, he opts to turn in blueprints, because again, you do not want a game over in Hideout Helm during a 2-day-long relay race. So he eats the time loss and goes on to have a great helm. But then, disaster strikes in Creepy Castle.
No. Oh, I haven't messed that up in ages. Where's the last one?
No, that's why for
No! No! That's so bad! No, I lost homing ammo. In like a bizarre way.
Skipping sniper scope here is reliant on using homing ammo to curve the shots towards the switches. Here, he was attempting to overlap 2 cutscenes, this one when you kill all the enemies, and that one after shooting all the switches. However, his last shot was intercepted by the balloon instead, and he used his remaining homing ammo on the enemy for the cutscene overlap. There was nothing else he could do here but leave, collect more homing ammo, and come back later. That cost him over a minute. Aztec 2 is not good news either, and so it would seem that Znernicus would not get a new record in the 1545 this time.
Why did I lose skew there? Well, I'm now only 7 seconds off PB.
Again, he came out of nowhere and had an absolutely flawless crystal caves to propel the run back into relevance. This time with Phasewalks and other optimizations, 30-22. That time was nuts. And remember this, because he turned in extra blueprints in Gloomy Galleon, his visit to Snide and Fungi will be 20 seconds shorter. So he is, in fact, on world record pace.
Can't get the TBS. Finally.
Taking 50 seconds to trigger tag barrel storage was not ideal. In fact, despite both Rabbit Race Skip and Beanstalk Skip going well in this run, and despite the blueprint discrepancy, Znernicus found himself losing time and getting out barely behind.
Dude, I only lost 3 seconds to PB in that Fungi. Wow. I am 10 seconds behind PB entering K-Rool. What?
He tried his best to bring it back in K-Rool, but it was just too much. He finished in 5:24.58, 12 seconds behind his record. Because the 1545 is such a huge relay race, Znernicus could not afford to skip turning in blueprints before Helm and to skip looking at the total screen at the end of Fungi Forest. Together, these two things add up to 25 seconds. Had this not been a race setting, this would have been a new world record. It is now fall of 2024, November 10th to be precise. Euphonium improved to a 529 a few months ago and could threaten the record. Adam Whitmore drops this fun fact. Going to the sound settings and selecting mono audio can help reduce lag. In laggy areas with lots of sounds, it seems like it saves a significant amount of time. For example, Tiny's car race in Factory appears to speed up by a couple of seconds. The long cutscene between Lanky's and Tiny's phases of K-Rool is 2/3 of a second faster. It's hard to measure precisely how much time is saved because there are often outside factors that prevent direct comparisons. It definitely saves time, but how much is a complete shot in the dark? It wouldn't be completely out there to believe it could save up to a minute over the course of the entire run. Really though, the community has no idea whatsoever. Of course, everyone immediately switches to mono and never looks back. On November 23rd, 2024 is the 25th anniversary of the game's release. To celebrate, Znernicus runs a triathlon of the game's main categories, any percent, no levels early, and 101. So this 101 run is played under 2 very different conditions. By the time he starts the run, he's already been speedrunning for 2.5 hours, and he's running against completely blank splits. He has absolutely no idea what his pace is. His run starts off great though, and he leaves Japes in under 58 minutes. We already know this to be the pace you want to be on, so that's a good start. But then he catches fire in Factory and pulls off one of the cleanest single levels ever seen, 37-14.
I hope I didn't forget anything.
The sign of a great level is him having doubts over whether he forgot something because the time is too good to be true.
I mean, I had 44 GBs, that's correct.
In fact, everyone in the group call is confused, but it is real.
That seems
I have a
really
37 gold, but not that
Oh.
low.
Not even
37.
right?
Did you do Nintendo Coin?
Yeah, I did Nintendo Coin.
In Gloomy Galleon, again because of the setting, he turns in the blueprints for safety and comes out with a 3544, another great level time considering the extra snide visit. His hideout helm is a bit shaky, but his creepy castle is absolute fire, which he ends on yet another frame-perfect pause exit den skip in the middle of casually talking.
But it's like generally a good idea to do so, just because it's like...
He has a decent Aztec, but a weak 32-minute Crystal Caves. That's nearly 2 minutes slower than the one he got a few months prior in the 1545. Finally, Fungi Forest comes along with the nerve-wracking Rabbit Race skip.
Yes! We got the GB! Oh my god!
Awesome.
GG!
I've been so like conditioned to expect to fail.
Beanstalk skip, of course, is not to be taken lightly either.
Dang, I should have waited. Oh, that looks high. Ah, damn it. I was so close.
And that is why.
Got it, okay. That was not good, but at least we are past that.
He still ends up having a decent level and comes out of it under 45 minutes. And finally, after over 5 hours, Znernicus can infer his pace because he knows one thing for sure. The K-Rool fight takes about 12 minutes and 20 seconds, give or take a bit. So by adding 12 minutes to his enter K-Rool split, he can tell if he's on world record pace.
I mean the 7-hour timer instead of the 101 timer. Okay, what does the 101 timer say? 5:11. 5:11. Wait, I'm on world record pace! Nice, dude. 5:23:25.
All right.
GG.
GG.
To this day, 5:23:25 currently stands as the 101% world record. On Wii U VC, the current world record held by Signa is 5:07:18. Znernicus' goal at the moment is 5:21, as he demonstrated he was well capable of doing, and he admits that a 5:19 would be possible, albeit very difficult. Signa has no plans to improve the record on VC, but Connor75 is going to go for it this year. In 2006, the 101% speedrun had 0 tricks and glitches in it. Over the past 19 years, so many tricks have been incrementally added to 101 that it's easy to take them for granted and forget their existence. So why don't we take a moment to appreciate how far we've come and look at this fairly comprehensive but by no means exhaustive list of every trick in modern 101% speedruns. Each trick will have a difficulty rating based on the subjective opinion of the category top-level runners and a risk rating which estimates how much time you're risking to lose by failing that trick. First, the current world record performs 60 total phasewalks throughout the run. This is roughly 3 consecutive frame-perfect joystick inputs, so it is basically the hardest trick in the run. However, it does benefit from being extremely quick to retry over and over, making it a maximum difficulty but minimum risk trick to go for all the time for the entirety of the run. A total of 90 golden banana dances that aren't trivial to bypass are skipped. 45 with orange damage, 6 with enemy or environmental damage, 2 with orange shockwave damage, 6 with rocket barrel, 14 with a precise jump, 7 with cutscene overlaps, and 10 with a frame-perfect pause exit. Battleground cutscenes are also skipped with a frame-perfect pause exit. Alright, and now every major trick in 101%. Clip out of Turning Grounds. Clip into Banana Fairy Island. Moonkick to Aztec Lobby. Moonkick to the top of Aztec Lobby. Aztec Lobby early. B-Locker skip with DK. Llama cutscene skip. Trough and Scoff skip in every single level. Dugadun quick for Key 5 early. Moonkick to the Castle Lobby Rainbow Coin. Cutout Kongs to free everyone. Goo Hand skip, and DK's minecart early with a Phasewalk. In Jungle Japes, Bush Bush. Moonkick to this Rainbow Coin. Moonkick to Diddy's Cage. Lag clip through this slope. Moonkick to the Shell area. Shell clip with Chunky. Ramby door skip with Hunky Chunky detransform. Multiple out of bounds routes between areas. Torch push with Lanky. Cannon skew with Lanky. Fairy shockwave cancel attempted a few times in the run. Skipping the vines in Chunky's underground. Skipping the bridge with Diddy. This jump to skip slowing down the conveyors. Intense lag reduction in the minecart rides. A long guns queue section to skip all the caged bananas and tiny stuff in the shell area. And a torch clip inside the shell to go straight to the final room. In Frontic Factory, open a gate to a tiny banana from out of bounds. Moontail to Beaver Bother from below. double beaver in all the beaver bother barrels, a moonkick to the power shed, a ledge grab clip to grab Chunky's darkroom banana from within the box, Matjack lag reduction and manipulation to speed up the fight, a clip in the crusher room, DK Arcade round 1 skip with an orange clip and a spawn snag, shortcuts in DK Arcade, piano game spawn snag with a rank stand TBS, guitar plays in Diddy's R&D room, finally take picture mode in Chunky's toy monster room to trivialize the fight. In Gloomy Galleon, Canon game spawn snag, a moonkick to climb the lighthouse faster, several face swims of varying complexity throughout the level as well as some other levels, a skid jump to reach Chunky's seasickness banana faster, no clip from a banana port warp, desynchronizing the mechanical fish targets, a faster cycle in Stealthy Snoop, and skip the seal race by clipping into the ship with Lanky. In Hideout Helm, clip into the lobby early, shut down the Blastomatic in under 10 minutes by skipping the stars using many Phasewalks. This runs the ultimate risk, a game over that straight up ends your run, or at least costs upwards of 12 minutes. Clip with a terminal push to bypass the final doors and get key 8, and damage boost to DK's blueprint in the lobby. In Creepy Castle, skip DK's tree target shooting game, skip Lanky's baboon balloon pads in a dungeon with a special speed trick, Moontail to skip lowering the chains in Diddy's room, ledge clip to fall straight into the back of the library, skip sniper scope and overlap cutscenes in Lanky's tower, clip through a torch in Lanky's mausoleum, face fall to get Chunky's museum banana. After leaving the level, clip in Kalamzy's platform to collect Lanky's caged banana, and Phasewalk to the banana inside to skip a rank stand sprint and void out to warp back to DK Island. In Angry Aztec, skip Tiny's claptrap banana with spawn snag, skip opening this door with a Phasewalk and out of bounds navigation, overlap the tower and the vulture cutscenes with the risk of soft-locking the game, skip the beetle race with a convoluted mess of a trick, banana push to DK's bonus barrel, a long gun skew sequence through the llama temple, skip feeding the totem by entering all the temples with clips and Phasewalks, take fairy pictures from out of bounds, finally skip Chunky's claptrap gauntlet by swimming directly into the banana. In Crystal Caves, DK's lobby banana from out of bounds, skip the giant Kosha cutscene with clever movement and a timely banana port warp, clip in Tiny's monkey port igloo, skip spawning the pads around the 5-door igloo by clipping into all the rooms, skip Lanky's baboon balloon with precise backflips to climb his igloo, a ledge kick in DK's rotating room to skip the puzzle, lag clips straight into DK's and Chunky's rooms of the 5-door cabin, a skid jump into Chunky's bonus barrel, a moontail and a flight with glitch controls in Diddy's room, in his other room, a moontail and tight execution to clear all the enemies quickly, precise jumps to enter the beetle race without baboon balloon, Lanky's beetle race skip, a precise jump onto the warp 4 pillar, and a clip into Chunky's ice shield to end the level. On the way to Fungi Forest, a clip to Chunky's caged banana and another to skip the dance at this rock, a face fall in the lobby to clip to the Gorilla Gone pad for the crown. In the level, a clip into the spider fight to speed it up with pineapples. DK's mill banana early as Chunky with a clip through a weak corner, break the steel kegs with precise positioning, clip into the spider room with Tiny this time. Several tricky fairy pictures, but especially in Tiny's 5-door ship and galleon, in the museum and castle, and the final boss, the fungi lobby fairy that can destroy you for over a minute. Of course, the infamous combo of rabbit race skip and beanstalk skip, two of the hardest and riskiest tricks in the entire run. A long skew section after the beanstalk, an overlap of 2 cutscenes for DK's Cannon's golden banana, a clip into Diddy's cage golden banana to skip the whole winch sequence, a moonkick to Snide to turn in blueprints at night, back to the Banana Fairy Island, swim through shores with Tiny for her golden banana and to enter the island. Finally, last but not least, intense lag reduction methods in the K-Rool fight to optimize the fight down from about 14 minutes to just about 12 minutes and 20 seconds. That is a modern 101% speedrun. To challenge today's world record, this is what you have to do. And you have to do it all faster than has ever been done before. Over its history, 101% was transformed from a giant collectathon into an onslaught of amazingly creative skips and frame-perfect tricks that were once thought impossible. 20 years ago, people would jokingly say Donkey Kong 64 speedrunners were insane. Today, it's no longer a joke. This was the history of the Donkey Kong 64 101% world record. Download Raid Shadow Legends now and join my clan.